Welcome to the Live Explore podcast. If you like what you hear, please hit like and subscribe.
Welcome, everyone, to the Rates and Rants podcast. I'm Sean Payne. This is Isaiah Chass, and this is Stuart Broughton. And in 10 minutes, we're going to give you a weekly mortgage breakdown. So let's jump right into it. Stuart, today we're going to talk about a one-year rate buy down versus buying down the rate for the entire life of the loan. All right? And so let's go over the pluses and minuses of each scenario.
Sure. So the one-year buy down is kind of like the 2-1 buy down. Instead of doing a 2% lower than the market rate, you're doing 1%.
Right.
So it's cheaper. So now, sellers do pay for these costs. So in the event that the 2-1 buy down is too expensive, that could be up to $15,000, 10 to 15 depending on loan amount.
Right.
That could be a little pricey. So why not do a one-year buy down? Where I ran a scenario, the loan amount of $700,000, current interest rate is 6.875 and no points. You go down to 5.875 and no points, but the seller pays for the one-year buy down.
Right.
That cost is about $5,500.
$5,500, right.
So it gives you about a payment relief of about $450 per month to the borrower. And how that's different from, say, a permanent buy down. This is a temporary buy down, but
Right.
a permanent buy down saying, 6.875 is at 0 points now. I want to pay 1 point. That's a buy down. That's a permanent buy down. You're at 6.375. So if you did that, you're saving roughly about $231 a month. And it would take you about 2.5 years to recoup that cost. So that cost is $7,000 for the point. It would take 2.5 years just to get past the break-even point, and then you're saving money. So let's do the scenario that someone does a permanent buy down, right? And rates drop, and they want to refinance. Well, after the first year, if you refinanced, you'd lose about $4,200. In the cost of paying that point down, in opposed to a temporary buy down where you're going to have the lower rate for the full year. The seller pays for it. You have to agree, obviously, the seller to do that. But you still have a year of lower payments up front like that, where even if you refinance in 8 months, you're still way ahead as far as payment.
So yeah, you don't lose the money that you've put in for that rate buy down, essentially. And that's like if we were in a market where rates were at let's say 4% and you wanted them lower, well then maybe buying down for the life of the loan.
Correct, because you're going to hold the loan on for a long term. Correct. Yes.
Then
yes.
that would be a scenario that would make more sense. In this situation, potentially anticipating rates to drop, that's why this potentially could be a better scenario. It gives you temporary relief, that way, but you're not throwing money away if you refinance that way.
Correct. So you're not losing the point that you paid. If I was to do it personally, I would prefer to have a temporary buy down and have that 1 year of relief.
Right.
And who knows, rates might not go down in a year. We don't know that. We don't have a crystal ball, but I think you're better positioned with that short term buy down than a long term buy down as far as does it pencil out? As far as cost.
Sure, as far as cost, yeah.
Correct.
So the one caveat to that is that it's the end of 2023. We are going into 2024. Just make sure on that 1 year buy down that when it does adjust over that 1 year that difference really doesn't hurt you. You just have to be able to afford that difference because we don't know what's going to happen in 2024.
Correct.
That's one of the advantages of the 2-1 buy down. It gives you a little bit more time to figure out. But this totally makes sense. If you're comfortable with hey, you want to get into the home and want a little relief the first year, but you're totally comfortable with the payment when it readjusts, knowing that as soon as rates do drop, you're going to refinance. Then this is a better way to go that way.
Correct, and the cost of the seller is a lot less. Right.
Yeah.
So it's easier to negotiate.
Yeah, and I think I've personally never been a huge fan of the temporary buy downs, but I think if someone is looking at the option for a permanent buy down, it could make a lot more sense on the looking at the temporary 1 year buy down as opposed to a permanent rate buy down. Because the cost is going to be similar. And really, the rate buy down isn't going to get you. The permanent rate buy down isn't going to get you a whole lot.
Huge savings, right? Yeah, it's not going to be. If you were to keep the loan for 10 years, sure, pay the point.
Right.
But what are the percentage odds that someone's going to be at 6 7/8 or go down to 6 3/8 and pay a point and not refinance out of that note in 2 to 3 years?
Right.
And to piggyback on what you said about just being realistic about where that payment goes, full communication to the borrower. hey, are you okay with this full payment? Are you
Right.
okay with a 6.875 rate and that full payment? When that does, after 12 months of having the lower payment, are you okay with that? If the borrower's okay with that and that's understood,
Yeah.
then there's no problems with it.
Yeah,
As long as you communicate that.
Exactly. As long as they know exactly what they're getting
Right,
into. Because,
right.
last cycle during the foreclosure crisis, a lot of people got to adjustable rate mortgages.
Mm-hmm.
It adjusted to something they're like, oh my gosh, I can't afford this. I didn't know this was happening.
Right.
So yeah, and again, this is going to be as dramatic as a change as those loans. But yeah, just as long as everyone knows what's getting into, it could be it could help ease that barrier into that home.
Right, and these loans are 30-year fixed, so there is no variable on that. Yeah, it does adjust if you do the 1 year or
Right.
2 year 2% buy down, but you're not dealing with something that's going to adjust on you after that fact. So as long as you understand what that note rate is, you're okay with the payments, then shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, and it is significant savings for that first year.
Yeah.
With the 1 year temporary buy down, and there are some people where it makes sense for where they have a job that they have a good amount of job security.
Right.
They're anticipating a raise.
Right.
In a year, or maybe there's a position that they're going to move up to.
Right.
And obviously we're in an economy where there could be job loss in the coming year, but if they're in a
Right.
position where they have a very solid job and they do see that coming down the road, then for that next year they get 500-ish relief
Right.
per month. That's a big
And it's like about
savings.
$5,400 for the year. You get savings on that 1 year buy down that the
Right.
seller's paying for.
Right.
So just
Yep.
any relief helps with interest rates now and costs. So.
Yep. No, that's great. Anything else you want to talk about these?
I think rates are going down. They have been. We've talked about it in our meetings, and let's keep our fingers crossed that we keep down this path of the Fed and all the news coming out with inflation data and job numbers and everything that points towards lower rates.
Right. Yep. Keep your fingers crossed. Isaiah, you good?
I think that covers the buy downs for now.
Awesome.
We'll come back to you next week and then come out with the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 buy down.
Yep. That's right. Yeah.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Please hit like and subscribe if you like this content to see future episodes. See you later.
Thank you.
Welcome to the Live Explore podcast. If you like what you hear, please hit like and subscribe.